Upstairs to the right music. Before we get started today, just a quick reminder, we are in the middle of a subscription drive to try to get this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers. It's been quite an adventure getting to this point over the last almost 2 years now from starting this channel. It's been an amazing road, and I've met a lot of amazing people through this. And I'd like you to please join this community that we're building here by hitting the subscription button. If you like the contents of this channel, please hit the like button, and let's move on to today's topic. Now, fortunately folks, I was a little bit under the weather this week, so I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, but I decided to make this a part 1.5, not part 2, because it doesn't really constitute part 2, but part 1.5 of the unboxing of this guitar right here, the Harley Benton TE80. I'm going to make some changes to this guitar, surprise, surprise, considering that I purchased this guitar with the purpose of it being something that I was going to potentially make modifications on. Maybe a lot of modifications, maybe very little. I just had to see it. And upon having it and playing this for a while, a week now, I've come to the conclusion that all the mods that I had planned for it in my head, sight unseen, actually turned out to be quite correct. A lot of people, when they get this TE80, they like to try to make changes to it to make it closer and looks towards Prince's guitar. That would be a matter of changing the scratch plate setup, the color of that. Also, maybe doing something with the logo up there as well. I actually like the scratch plate on this guitar. I think it's gorgeous, and I don't see any need to make any changes there. And surprise, surprise for me, I'm actually happy with the pickups. You know, I'm very lenient when it comes to single coil pickups generally. If they got a good tone to them, I'll let it ride. I'm not as picky as I am with humbuckers, as I've come to learn over the last few years. So these Roswell single coil pickups are just fine, so I'm not going to make any changes to them. However, when it comes down here to the tone pots, these have no taper whatsoever to them here. It's not, you know, a Les Paul kind of taper in any case. And so I'm going to be changing the pots on this guitar. Right now, currently inside of here, we've got 500K pots. I was talking to Pihan Shitsu about it last show down in the comments and asked him about that because, you know, my memory served me that it was 250s usually on Strats, and why they put 500s on here, I'm not sure. I then went down to Fern and had a conversation with him about it, and what we're going to do is we're going to put Lolar 250 caps and pots in here, and that will take care of any of the sonic issues, getting different tones using your this will actually work. You know, I'd like to have a tone pot that actually provides some kind of, I mean, it works, don't get me wrong, but it could be a lot a smoother taper, and also with the volume as well, that could be a lot smoother as well. So that's okay, that's an easy fix. The next thing that I plan on doing with this guitar is not such an easy fix. I think that this neck is in serious need of staining. It's quite drastic how you can see how this is a Canadian maple neck, walnut body, but you can see that they didn't stain this at all. As a matter of fact, they put some kind of light coat, maybe not even that, on this, and then they stenciled the logos and stuff. And by the way, as you can see, a lot of them are almost gone. I've actually removed almost all the labels, or I'm sorry, all of the headstock labels that were there. Why can't I think of that? The headstock what do you call that? Title? It's a book. Anyway. So one of the things also that bothers me about this guitar is this neck. This neck is really, in my opinion, unfinished neck. They didn't do any stain to it. They did paint in the binding like you would have on a Mad Cat. So this binding is painted on. However, it's really a very otherwise unfinished neck. Now, with the Mad Cat, it had a very distinct vintage amber neck. And so one of the things that I decided to do was redo this neck. Well, one of the things that I decided to do was to purchase a new neck for this guitar. But upon playing it and upon examination, I'm not unhappy with this neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this neck off the guitar. I'm going to remove all the hardware, the tuners, and the trees. Not the nut, not the frets. I'm not going to do anything to that. Then I'm going to stain the neck. Now, I had this conversation with Fern this week about exactly that, and he was kind enough to give me a block of Canadian maple. So this is American maple, this is Canadian maple, but for all intents and purposes the same thing, to use as my sample for when my stain comes in. So we'll be doing that together. We'll be going through first prepping. So through this sample here, I'll show you. We'll sand this down with 300 grit, not very lightly, just enough so that the stain takes. We will apply some Stewie Mac Vintage Amber stain to the neck, and then we will seal it over with a coat of nitrocellulose. So that's going to be an exciting project that is actually going to be starting this week. I've gotten almost everything in. I'm just waiting for the vintage amber stain to come in from Stewie Mac from the States. So I'll take this neck off and I will completely do the neck myself, staining. I'm going to try to match it to this vintage amber color that the body is as close as possible. If you look at an actual Mad Cat, the neck is the same color as the body. They've done a vintage amber stain on it in order to match. This they haven't done that, so I'm going to do that because that's just a little detail that rubs me the wrong way. But it's such an easy fix. Now the Henstock Decals, I've taken all of them off. It's with the exception of this Harley Benton one. I'm going to silk screen that. I'm going to sketch it out, and then I can remove it so that I can print it out and replace it later with the new headstock. So it'll read Harley Benton Mad Cat. So that will be the extent of the changes that I'm going to make to this guitar. Not minor ones by any mean, but you know, I've done finishing of tables and staining before, so staining this neck is not going to be such a big thing. I'm not even going to mask it. I'm going to just, well, we'll get to that. You'll see what I'm going to do, but we're really just going to do this over. And then this whole guitar with the neck separated but finished is going to go down to Fern. He's going to put everything back together again. We're going to put fender tuners that I have in my toolbox on instead of these Harley Benton tuners. And then we should have something here. So we'll have a refinished neck with new tuners. We'll change the pots and caps. We'll fix that little problem here, the jack. It's a little loose connection. And I think we'll be ready to rock and roll. However, these are changes that I'm making because I plan on using it for recording. These are not changes that you necessarily have to make if that's not your intent for it. For playing out loud, for just gigging with it, yeah, you could do that out of the box with this guitar, no questions asked. So anyway, that's my plans for this guitar. As I discussed with Fern, I can't wait. He's kind of backed up, so the minute I drop it off with him, believe me, it's going to be a minute before we see it back again. hopefully we can start talking about it and showing it off completed by Christmas is my goal. We'll see, fingers crossed. But in any case, that is what we're going to be doing this week coming up with the staining work, removing the neck and all of that. My last thoughts on this guitar are that it is a winner. I really like it. It has a beautiful tone to it, especially here in the middle position when you play the cleans, especially through a Fender amp or Fender IR. So, you know, I'm happy. I couldn't be more pleased with it. So that's the show for today, just talking about the things that I plan on doing with that. I can't wait to get to doing the staining of the neck and discussing that with you. I'm so glad that I have this in order to test the color of the stain. So I can stain this first and then just see if it, until I get it right so that it matches. Probably, I'm going to take it from this. It's a little darker here than it is here, so we'll go with the lighter. So we'll just match that stain up until we get it correct, and then we'll apply it to the neck. And you will be there with me to do that, good, bad, or indifferent, and should be interesting. Let's finish today with a little bit of a sound sample from this guitar. I'll play a little Santana for you. And until the next show, you guys take care. See you later.